We got Spitz in the house making his debut on Professional Fanatics, one of the biggest NBA guys I know. Kicking off the season tonight in 2 hours. Spitz, what say you? What's going on?
Dude, not much. I've been looking forward to this for all summer. I'm not a fantasy baseball guy. I'm not a fantasy football guy, but this is my bread and butter. My draft did not go too well, but I know that's not what we're here to talk about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, I'm a little behind the times in NBA. As you know, I've been doing 7 shows a week on football. I'm a degenerate in NFL. I'm also a huge NBA fan. This will be the first year I'm not playing a fantasy league since 2009. So I feel a little discombobulated just because, you know, I love the NBA. So I think it's going to be good for my gambling angle this year because, like, it's so hard when you have, I had to play some big money basketball leagues where to not be biased, right? And take your guys on your team for your over-unders. Now I'm literally a clean slate, so I'm looking forward to that of kind of just going into it with a fresh slate and just viewing the game, right? Not having too many biases outside of my bets each day. It's going to be refreshing because it's been, like I said, 16 years since I've had this. So I just enjoy the game. I love the NBA.
Wow.
Of all the sports, if I had just sit down and watch a game with no money on the line, it's NBA for sure. Just a random, late Wednesday night game, West Coast game. Like, it's NBA because I don't want to watch a Thursday night game, Jags and Colts with no money on the line. Baseball is too slow. Hockey's entertaining. I'm just not a hockey guy. So right. NBA is my go-to for just viewing pleasure, right? I know a lot of people hate on the new NBA. They're crazy. This is the best the league's ever been. There's so much parity. There's not been a repeat champ since, what was the last repeat champ? Was it the Lakers? The Warriors. Sorry, the Warriors.
It had to be.
So the Warriors, that's been a while. It's been a minute. And not just that, I think there's been 6 straight different champs, 6 straight years without a repeat. Not even like a back-to-back, but like it's been 6 new teams winning. Anyways, we're here talking about the NBA preview, overview of the league. Also, we're going to talk some season-long win totals, a couple player props I love tonight and for tonight's game. Give me a couple teams that we need to be on the lookout for that you like that are kind of ascending, maybe a couple teams that'll disappoint in your mind.
Yeah. I'm very high, and I actually snagged one of their team members in the second round of my draft. I'm very high on the Orlando Magic. Acquired Desmond Bane in the offseason. Franz is getting better. Paolo Banchero is unbelievable. He's a guy I got in the second round. And that is a big, big 3. They're going to be scoring a lot. Franz is going to be facilitating. I'm very high on them. On FanDuel, it says that their win total is over/under at 50.5. I would say that's pretty accurate. But I'm very bullish on the over for the Orlando Magic.
The East is super weak, so you got that going for you. And the guy you forgot to mention, as much as I love Desmond Bane, Jalen Suggs is a stud. That's a selfless player that just fits in to that team and just like a guy you need, right? Like he's a better not a better version, but like a Bruce Bowen, a guy that's just going to take on the best assignment, not ask for any shots. So I do like the Magic. I'll give you my first one here that I absolutely love, and it's the T-Wolves, man. And for everything imaginable, their Western Conference odds, their championship odds, their win total. What do you think their win total is if you had to guess, if you're not looking at it? What do you think it's at? West is tough. The West is very tough.
Not looking at it, I would say their win total is at 47.
48 and
46.
48.5. I think Ants is a top 5 player in the NBA. I know that sounds crazy. He's gotten better every year statistically and eye test. I know he's worn down a couple times here in the playoffs, but I think that, every year they're doing well in the playoffs. I just think I love the roster, man. And I know Gobert has been a punchline, but he's still an elite rim protector. Jaden's awesome. Like Julius Randle seemed to get his head on straight for once last year. So I'm betting on Ants as being a top 5 player at ascending this year. And I could see him as some guys take games off and are postseason guys. I think Minnesota is a regular season team. similar to what we've seen with some of those Tibbs teams.
Yeah.
Like a team that's just going for it. They aren't going to be comfortable. The other veteran teams, the Thunder, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Nuggets, I feel like they're fine being a 4, 5, 6 seed. I think the Timberwolves need to try to get that 3 or 2 seed. And they're going to play for it. And Ant doesn't miss any games. That's my thing. So there's also a DraftKings like like a team special thing where it's them to win 55 games and Ant to average 30 points. And it's like 30-1. I feel like if they win 55 games, Ant will average 30 points. Now, he only averaged, I think, 27.8 last year, but he has gone from 25, 26, 28 essentially last year. So he's trending upwards. And for me, it's just, can he start getting that superstar treatment and getting, going to the line more? Because he doesn't they don't really give him the benefit of the doubt, right, Spitz?
Certainly not. Certainly not. I mean, people view him as like Michael Jordan's son, but I know from fantasy wise, he's kind of underwhelming in the fact that he doesn't stuff the stat sheet. But for scoring, like you got to assume that he's going to be putting up damn near like 30 shots a game. Like he will be chucking. Like Julius Randle will get his looks. Dante DiVincenzo might chuck a little bit. Who sees what Jaden McDaniels will do? But like he'll be a scoring machine. He'll be very good. I'm gonna have to second with you on that one.
Yeah, and another thing we didn't mention is DiVincenzo played bad last year, and we both like Dante. So like I feel like this could be, I don't know, like he's a perfect bench piece. Like that dude's a heat check guy, pretty good defender, hustle guy. So like I love the makeup of the Timberwolves, and I feel like they're a team I want to root for. They're a team I want to watch, and 48.5 win total just seems like a gift to me. I just know they're going to be playing and trying and not really resting guys, which is a huge advantage, man. A lot of these teams, you just don't know. You just don't know whether their motivations are to get the top 2 seeds, whether it's just not to get in the play-in. I'm fairly confident in the T-Wolves are going to go all out every game. Give me another team future you like.
So a team I'm not really sure about the future, but I want to get your take on this. A team that I'm certainly watching out for is the Toronto Raptors because their starting five is Emmanuel Quickley, it's RJ Barrett, it is Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, and Brandon Ingram. They added Brandon Ingram. Like that starting five is, if they can stay healthy, that starting five is legit. Now, do they have a lot of depth after that? Not so much, but their regular season total is at a mere 39 and a half.
34? Oh, wow. Okay.
39 and a half.
Yeah, see that the talent's there. That's just a weird like smorgasbord of like players that don't really make sense because Quickly's a chucker. Barrett has never really panned out, I guess. But I don't mind Brandon Ingram. Man, yeah, you said that is a talented starting five. And I guess what you have going for you is they play in the East, right? Like they have so many games where they're going to be favored just based on the other team just tanking and being terrible. And yeah, if they were in the West, like I would not like that, but 39.5 is low. I do like that though. I mean, do they have their first round pick? I don't know if they have their first round pick. That's a big thing for me with these overs, with these like teams that are projected to lose. Like a team like I know the Pelicans don't have their first round pick. So that's a number I kind of want to target because what's the point of tanking if you don't have your first round pick? I'll give you my other one here. That's an East team that is kind of weird, and there's some issues with it with Giannis, but it's the Bucks over 43.5 wins. Now Damian Lillard's gone, but again, we both know Damian Lillard was pretty trash, dude. Like offensively, he's fine, he was good, but he's such a bad defender. And okay, they lost Brook Lopez, who was low key bad last year, and they brought in Miles Turner, and Miles Turner's good. Miles Turner allows Giannis to play more point forward. Now, they don't have a point guard. Not worried about that. Hungry Giannis. Giannis is still the best player in the Eastern Conference by a large margin with no Tatum. And I still feel like a top 3, top 4 player in the NBA. So, like, I like betting on teams that they barely have to go over 500 to get this. The problem is, could he be traded mid-season? I don't see that happening. I feel like it's an off-season kind of move. Yeah, because I know he wants to be traded. They should trade him eventually. Like, make the guy happy. He won you a title in Milwaukee. Like, I'm just, I don't know, betting on the best player in the East needs 44 wins to hit this number. Gary Trent, you saw him in the playoffs last year. They got some players, man, and it's mostly like they're big. Miles Turner's huge. He's good. He can stretch the floor as well. Like, I just like the versatility they have there. And again, the East is weak. I think Giannis, I wonder what he is for MVP. I didn't look that up. Now it's gonna be hard to win MVP if your team wins 45 games. We know this, but
Right,
could
right,
you see
right.
Giannis having like, remember Embiid season he had 2 years ago where it was like 32, 12, and 7? Like, I could see Giannis having like a 34, 14, and 7 season with, 2 blocks and a steal a game.
100%.
Um, because I
100%.
just love Giannis. On the stream, the football stream the other day, we were talking about like best players or like, comparisons, and someone said Jokic, like all time at this point, Jokic versus Giannis. And like, it seems like you want to say Jokic because what he's done offensively is just something we've never seen. But Giannis has had years where he's averaged 30, 12, and 6. And the deciding factor for me was Giannis is a top 10 defender of all time. And Jokic has now maybe serviceable as a defender, but Jokic is not a good defender. Like, you got to hide that dude a little bit. We got Blake in here, my media manager, Cry Dog, Kappa. What's going on, boys? So what are you like that over 43.5 for the Bucks?
I don't mind it. I think they do have some good supporting pieces, and what you kind of said with you didn't mention Bobby Portis, and people are also high on Kevin Porter Jr. to help facilitate. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one now that Dame is out of town. Because Giannis is very good. He is very good. I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know if I would hammer it.
Bobby Portis, though, good call, man. Because one of my favorite players. So pissed the Bears got rid of him. And yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. is notorious knucklehead. We know about all of his histories with weed and all the other shit, missing practices. Love the talent there. Like, he's got a James Harden-esque game. I don't just say that because he's lefty. Kind of got a chucker mentality, but he's a heat check guy, and I feel like he is a playmaker, and they need playmakers. They need wings because their front court, Bobby Portis, Giannis, and Miles Turner is, I don't know, man, probably top 3 in the East, top 2 in the East, best in the East.
Yeah,
it's good. Okay, so I'm going to get into my bets tonight, and 2 plays tonight, both in the Rockets game. Reed Shepherd, I'm going to shout out Blake for this, from his hometown, actually. He turned me on to this one. Reed Shepherd probably coming off the bench, but they have a pretty, with Van Fleet being out for the year, that was somewhat recent. They didn't have a lot of time to adjust. So Reed Shepherd's going to be thrust into, I feel like, 25 plus minutes a game, over 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And not to mention, like, if the game does get out of hand, which I feel like the Rockets could win, but they also could get blown the fuck out by the Thunder, Reed Shepherd's going to get minutes in garbage time. What do you think about that? 13.5 for a total.
I like it a lot. And I think he's going to transition into the starter role this season. So I think he's going to get similar to starter minutes. And I think that, I saw his preseason. I know they didn't play all of them, but he dropped like 28 just points flat. So the dude can heat up. He can score.
Was he at number 2? Was he number 3 overall in the draft? What was he? It was last year's draft. Was he number 2, number 3, number 4?
The Spurs got the number 2 guy. So he had to be, and that was the year before. He was in the league last year.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Last year's like 2024 draft. I mean, out of Kentucky, the dude's a player, man. 3rd pick. Blake says 3rd pick. Thank you, Blake. That's why he is my Jamie, dude. He's always in here. Appreciate you. So he's got the pedigree. He's played in big games in college too. So, and Blake said first college player drafted because the other guys were, obviously Europeans, because that's how the NBA is going these days. The other bet we love is Amon Thompson. It's Amen Thompson over 4.5 assists, because he is actually probably going to start at point guard in this game. We don't know for sure, but like, they're going to play that jumbo ass lineup, and it's essentially Kevin Durant and Thompson as like the two, pretty much the two facilitators and ball handlers on the floor, at least for the starting lineup. Yeah, Sengun can as well, but like, I'm saying, like, he's not the primary guy. They're going to run the offense through him, but in terms of bringing the ball up and handling the ball on the perimeter, and Blake does make a good point here. Can't miss with Kentucky guards. I mean, go through the list of guys that were drafted later than that. Devin Booker, right? Like, he had a rough rookie year, but Devin Booker's a stud. So, Mr. Free Throw says Rockets are going to lean on Rockets are going to lean on the guards on the Giant squad. I'm on KD, Jabari, Sengun, and Adams. Yeah, they will, but they still need to play someone on a point guard or shooting guard on the bench. So
yeah,
Sengun's
Adams
awesome,
will be one of those
Sengun's
guys.
A poor man's Jokic.
Yeah, yeah, I think Adams is gonna be one of those guys that, like, he's the big man, but then they, like, sub him out with, like, 7.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Like, I don't think Adams is gonna get a lot of minutes at all, with a lot of teams playing small ball. But Mr. Vreether also says that Şengün will average 70 assists. I think if Şengün wanted to average a double-double, I think he could. Like, if he really focused on, like, literally just pretty much padding his stats and getting looks to his open teammates, I think he could. He hasn't, obviously, but people do call him the baby Jokic. So I think there's some
Yeah,
validity to
how
that.
old is Sengun? How old is he? Like
Oh, he's young. I think
25,
he's my I
24?
think he's my age.
23?
Yeah, he's like 24,
Yeah.
25.
Mr. Free Throw
Jokic and
has
Şengün,
Jokic
that's
and Sengun. That's triple double central right there for big man. That's great.
yeah.
Blake says he's a lesser Sabonis. What are your thoughts on Sabonis? Because I've always been a big Sabonis guy, at least for fantasy, but in real life, Sabonis is not very good, right? Like he just can't. He's got these little tiny
That
T-Rex arms. Can't play defense.
yeah, yeah. I think in fantasy, like I think Sabonis is such an easy guy to bet on because he's just like that
Yeah.
17 points, 13 rebounds a night. Like he's gonna get you that. And he also gets some triple doubles every now and then. But I don't know. Sabonis might be on a slight decline, and now the Kings have all these guys that are like gonna shoot now and ask for forgiveness later. Like that.
What are the
I don't
Kings
know. I
doing?
don't
They
know.
brought in Russell Westbrook. Like, what are they doing? It's been rough. They gave away Fox for nothing.
Dude, I
Like,
know.
you know what I mean? They traded Halliburton for like at the time I understood it because Sabonis was like that. And then he was having those years where it was like 23, 13, and 8. But again, we all know as
Mhm,
much as I love Sabonis, we know he's a better fantasy player than real life player. And Halliburton's, especially back then, was quite the opposite, right? He didn't look like an alpha. He was just pretty much a facilitator, but he was a really, really long guard that was a pretty elite defender at a young age. And they got fleeced in that trade.
mhm.
Let's just be honest. Like even with the ACL or Achilles
Oh,
injury
yeah.
with Halliburton, they got fleeced in that trade. And like they chose Fox over him, which was wrong. And then they just give Fox away for what did they even get for that? Nothing. A second round pick. Was it even a first rounder? They didn't get much.
I don't even know, dude. I feel like if they got much, we would know because they don't have jack. They don't have anything right now.
And
They
didn't
don't
they
have
give
anything.
Keegan Murray a big bag of money too? Like
Yes, yes, they did.
I know money's relative in
They
the NBA and
did.
like 35 mil a year isn't really that much. But Keegan Murray is like one of those fringe players. It's like, yeah, he's a starter, but he'll probably never be an all-star. He definitely will never be an all NBA player. He fits. I like him. He's a 3-and-D guy. I just don't know what he is. And like that's something that the Raptors would do, right? You mentioned the Raptors, like they don't give out max contracts, they give out a bunch of like second tier contracts to a bunch of guys that just aren't difference makers. Like Emmanuel Quickly is making like 40 million a
Yeah.
year, right? Like, why? Why? Quickly's a six
Yeah.
man. Quickly's a good 6 man. He's a heat check guy, but like we don't
Mhm.
like, yeah, we don't like those contracts. I want cheap guys, Bobby Portis level guys, that are role players that know their role, or I want max level guys. And not like this
Yeah.
Keegan Murray
Yeah.
stuff. We got Alex in the chat. What's going on, bro?
Yeah.
Doing a little NBA tester, see who
So
tunes in. We'll be doing a lot more NBA shows once the fantasy football season's over. Anyone in here, if you're new to the stream, 7 nights a week, we're doing like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Central, fantasy football and sports gambling shows. Check out the show. Subscribe if you had not. We got Travis in here saying, hot take, Hawks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I want to get your take on the
wow.
Hawks because I like some of their moves they made. Porzingis should be, if he can stay healthy. Trae Young, though, is just a bum. I mean, to say it, like, he's just not a winner. His teammates hate him. Can Trae Young take the leap to becoming a viable point guard and a winning basketball player? We've seen it 1 year from him.
I am gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. I certainly think he is not a bum. With how
You know
much
what
he
I
like
mean? Just like based on his
facilitates.
numbers compared to real life.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've had him numerous times on my fantasy teams throughout the season, and he's obviously very fun to watch. But I don't think he needs necessarily to take the next step in order for the Hawks to be successful with Jalen Johnson on the rise. They have Porzingis to play when they need him. He's going to be resting back to backs. They have Dyson Daniels, who is just
Mm.
like that you plug him in, and he does what you need to do. And then they have Okongwu as well, who will be coming off the bench, I believe, but he'll be starting when Porzingis. So that they've got their veteran in Trae Young. They also have Risa Shea or whatever, who is supposedly
You
going
look
to take
good.
a next leap. I don't think that take is too hot, honestly. But we have to remember, like we were talking about, like the East sucking. They have the Knicks and they have the Cavs as well that are
Yeah.
locks to go pretty far.
So that Dyson Daniels was a throw-in. He was like a throw-in in the trade. And then didn't they? So the Hawks and Pelicans have made 2 trades, because I know the draft day trade was just batshit crazy. The Pelicans are just silly. But I think that was the Dyson Daniels was obviously in a trade the year prior as a throw-in. And what a gem they found. Dyson Daniels is like an all NBA defender right now. And he's only getting better. I want to say he's like 23 years old. He's, man, a long wing, like almost like a Halliburton without the scoring. But yeah, an elite defender. So I like their build there. And it's, I guess Porzingis' health is a big key, right? But Jalen Johnson's a stud. I love Jalen Johnson as just an all-purpose Swiss Army knife weapon there. And I sucked that he got hurt last year, because I had him in fantasy and I was really high. I was really high on him. So I can see him being frustrated with Trae Young, because I want him to have the ball in his hands more. Kappa says, "Are you doing a draft this year?" First year, not playing fantasy, Kappa. I'm just going to focus on gambling and kind of have a clean slate here for not being biased. And I'm just so into the NFL right now that it's hard for me to, get all in. But I'm going to be all in once football's over. We're doing about 3 or 4 of these shows a week. Travis says Alexander Walker needs to take over some ball handling. So Trey, we didn't mention that. Alexander Walker coming off a great year. That's a pretty big loss for the T-Wolves, right? Or do you think it's not that bad of a loss?
Yeah, I'm not too huge on Alexander Walker. I know he can ball out when he needs to, but that was typically when other people were out. So I think he's just going to be a key cog off the bench. I don't even know if he's going to be starting, honestly. To be honest, I wasn't even aware that they made that move. He's not on my radar too much.
Dyson Daniels, 4 years, 100 million, absolute steal. So you're telling me that Emmanuel Quickly makes way more money than Dyson Daniels? that doesn't make sense, because Emmanuel Quickly couldn't guard me. He couldn't guard Kirk Heinrich right now, and Kirk Heinrich is old and slow, dude.
Captain Kirk.
Alex says you have a king of the court play for DraftKings. I did not do that, actually. My 2 plays are Reed Shepard over 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and then Amen Thompson over 4.5 assists. So I am kind of heavy on Houston here. Do you entertain NBA fantasy content on this podcast? Yeah, well, the guy to ask that is Spitz. Like I said, I've been a big fantasy basketball player for the last 15 years. First year not doing it. I still, I'm still pretty in tune with everything. I know players really well. Give it a couple weeks and I'll be really in tune with the NBA. I'm still like, I was kind of cramming the last week, where usually I'd be cramming for 2 months. Good call from Blake here. Dillingham could potentially take away, could be a new, a boom player. Did you like him coming out of the draft last year? I know he didn't get a lot of run, but I know Bill Simmons loved him, and I do kind of respect Bill Simmons' opinion on these things.
Yeah, my buddy went to Kentucky when he was there, and so I watched a few games. The dude balled out. Did not really get a chance to in Minnesota. I assume we're talking about Rob Dillingham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, the more that I'm hearing about this trade that went down, I usually I'm pretty in tune with it, but like that's some good depth for the Hawks.
Yeah. What is he? Alexander Walker is like their 8th player then?
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, all you got to do is go eight deep is enough.
100%. 100%. I have a season-long bet that I have to mention, Rob, because it feels free. It feels free. All right. Are you ready for this one? This is probably my best one. So to average 11 or 12 rebounds a game is Anthony Davis. Okay. So at 11, it's even money. At 12, it is plus 350. I'm all over that. I'm all over that.
Yeah, they don't have any
100%.
bigs. He's the only big.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know like how to explain it, but the dude just absolutely just cleans up the glass. And for a reference, Domantas Sabonis is -1,000 to do that. And then you get people like Walker Kessler -230, Jokic -170, Zubac +110, Anthony Davis +350 to average 12 plus rebounds. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
I'm just
a
seeing that right
shackle on
now.
that one, baby. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a
yeah.
lot. Who are they have? They have Likely there, right? And then they still have who's the
They have
other big
Gafford.
they have there?
They have Gafford.
Gafford and okay. So you're gonna have essentially AD
Gafford
playing
doesn't clean
4.
up the glass too much though.
No, he's a shot blocker. And Likely isn't really the
Yeah,
best at rebounding either for his size. So
yeah.
yeah,
Cooper
man, I'm
Flagel
into
will
that.
get
And
some
you get the
boards.
upside. You get the upside of him not playing every game either. So, he's only going to play
Correct.
65 games, which is good. He'll be fresh. He'll play more minutes when he does play. Yeah, I like that one a lot. We got Mr. Free Throw. How good can the Spurs be this season? I believe their win total it's pretty high. It's like 40.5. Do you like what they did? What do you think? I mean, obviously it's a bet on, this is only a bet on Wemby's health. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what I don't like what they did. They took Dylan Harper with the second overall pick when they have already De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Devin Vassell. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
they don't
know.
have any shooting.
I
They
think
don't have
I think
shooting.
the Spurs are I think the Spurs are almost there. I think they're almost there. They're completing a really good rebuild right now. But I don't think they're gonna go far still, if at all make the
You know what they're
playoffs.
doing? I got a little theory for you. Now, the most logical spot for Giannis in my mind, I know people say the Knicks. I think it's the Spurs. And can you imagine Giannis and Wemby playing together? Like, because like Giannis was the original freak,
Oh my
obviously the Greek freak,
gosh.
and then Wemby comes in the league and it's just like, well, you know what? I'm kind of like Giannis, but I'm also like KD. And then you have, Giannis would essentially probably play they just rotate 4 and 5, and then you'd have just versatility. Like you couldn't literally get any layups against them or dunks, and that'd just be unreal.
Yeah,
So the thing is, they have all those wings and guards. That's the package you send back, because they have Miles Turner now, and they still have Bobby Portis. So you send back, Castle and Dylan Harper, or Fox, any combination of those guys they have, Vassell, right? Like any of those combos, and then they get Giannis, and you figure it out later. That's usually what these teams do. They get two all-time
yeah.
players, and then you figure it out later. Now, it didn't work for the Phoenix Suns trying to do that. That's because one of the guys they chose was Bradley
No.
Beal. Where did Bradley Beal go? Where is Beal? Is he on the Clippers?
He's on the Clippers. Yeah, he's on the Clippers.
Jesus Christ. He'll probably be okay on the Clippers. Just they just love those guys. They should have brought back Russell Westbrook. Marcus says, how do we feel
The
about
old
Josh
hags.
Giddey for the Bulls? This is for you, Spitz. How do you
Hey,
feel
that's
about
my
Josh
boy.
Giddey? Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
Marcus
him.
is in the league with me. Yeah,
Oh,
no, I love him too. Make sure you sub to this dude Marcus. He knows his stuff.
yeah.
But they I'm a big guy on picking people correlative to what they got paid. So if they paid a guy a lot, he's obviously going to have a high usage rate. And Giddy got the bag. They paid him out, and I think towards the end of the season he was like zero point 0.1 rebounds away from averaging a triple double. Like he will be a usage monster this season. And I was really in between. I had the 17th pick in my draft. I was between Banchero and Giddy, and I think Banchero is just a little bit more proven. But the Bulls suck, man. They suck. And much like Giannis in Milwaukee, like somebody has to do it for Chicago. Somebody has to do it. They got Kobe White, they got Vooch, and they're expecting Buzelis to, take a jump. But I'm very high in Giddy. I could see him getting like these like 17 point, 13 assist, 8 rebound, or vice versa. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, any of those stats could be interchangeable. That's the beauty of him, right? And I will say that about Josh Giddey, he had the whole controversy that seemed to be bullshit anyway. But the Caruso trade, that was the definition of a win-win trade because, obviously Josh Giddey way younger, way better prospect, down the road. But the Thunder won a championship, not just because of Caruso, but that was a perfect glue guy for them where Josh Giddey just didn't mesh well with SGA. And I think he had worn out his welcome there. He was, remember how bad he was the end of that year? How bad it was 2023 at the end of that year. It was terrible. And the Bulls got themselves, I want to say I'm a franchise player, but a guy to kind of build around. That's what Giddey's like 23. He was a 19-year-old rookie. So super, super young. Alex says Anthony Davis sounds like a lock. I got to hit that one. I like the 12 plus because you could just throw like $30 on it to win 100. Blake says Rockets over under 52.5. Hey, Jay, real quick. Jay, the other bet was Reed Shepherd over 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I personally like that one more than Thompson, but Thompson was the pick from my buddy Godarzi, who's going to be my NBA expert along with Spitz. Godarzi's a stud, so I kind of just follow him blindly. Rockets over under 52.5, Spitz. What do you think, man? Because there's a lot of moving parts here. I can see some rest days. Obviously, KD rarely stays healthy. And so that Van Fleet being out is huge.
That relies on them going 53 and 29?
Essentially 22 games over 500. It's a lot. In the West, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. I don't know on that one. I wouldn't be crazy about it, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they do hit the over.
I would probably just lean under just because I can see the Rockets favoring, it's the opposite of the Timberwolves bet. I feel like the Rockets know they have the talents and they just don't want to be in the play-in. So as long as they can get a 5 or 6 seed, they're fine, right? They'd rather have KD fully healthy and the 5 seed than KD a little nicked up and have the 3 seed because it's KD's old, and they need to keep him healthy. And losing Van Fleet, they need Kevin Durant on the floor because they don't have any other ball handlers. So Van Fleet was a big loss, man.
Yeah.
Do you like Dylan Harper though? So Mr. Free Throw, do you Spitz? Do you like Dylan Harper as a prospect? Take away, the fit because the fit sucks. And here's the thing for me in NBA, the NBA is so positionless right now. Now, unfortunately, the Spurs have no outside shooting, and Dylan Harper is a work in progress in that regard. But it's about assets, right? And like I mentioned, the Giannis trade, getting as much as you can. I feel like Bailey is just a knucklehead. What do you think? What are your thoughts on him? Because he was the other guy, right?
I like Ace Bailey a lot. I like him a lot
as a prospect. But what about what's in here and what's in here with Ace Bailey? I'm very confident Dylan Harper's a dog, right? I'm very confident in that. I don't know about Ace Bailey. He could end up being just, I don't want to throw Kevin Porter Jr.'s name out there, but you know what I mean? Are you confident that Ace Bailey, it just seems like a wild card pick. Ace Bailey was demanding a bunch of stuff. It was like Shedeur Sanders-esque. Dude, just show up and do your combine stuff and just be a pro. I don't know if he's a pro.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I saw some very good comparisons for him, some very good pro comparisons. And I think it's more of I see you're kind of an out long-term guy. I think you might be right about that, but I think the situation right now is definitely more beneficial for Ace Bailey. He might be if his knees stay healthy, I think he has knee tendonitis in both knees. But if he stays healthy, he could compete with either Lauri Markkanen or Keontae George to be the leading scorer on the Jazz.
Haven't we seen this though? Okay, I was pretty high on Jabari Smith coming out. I'm pretty sure you were too, Spitz. Jabari, who's a better prospect, Jabari Smith or Ace Bailey? Pretty close, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
And the problem with these guys is they don't have. Yeah, they can handle the ball, but they're not elite ball handlers, and they can't really create their own shot. Now, Ace Bailey's probably better at creating his own shot, but Jabari Smith is 6'11", bro. And we've seen him struggle with the physicality of the NBA. We've seen him struggle to kind of create and be a playmaker. And that's my worry with Ace, his turnovers, hustle issues, and his teammates. Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was awesome with the Golden State for a year, and then they sent him to a team to be the guy, and Jordan Poole was one of the worst players in the NBA. And no one wanted to play with him. It was rough. It was terrible. So that's my word with Ace Bailey. I don't know. I have questions with these character guys, and I have no concerns with Dylan Harper in terms of his character. NBA former NBA player's son, pedigree, professional, those kind of things, and still pretty big. He's not that tall, but he's a pretty thick dude that I feel like can handle the NBA. And I do like what the Spurs are doing. Now they're again, these guys don't make sense together. They need shooting around Wemby. It's like trying to build a team like that around LeBron, where it's like, what do we know about LeBron? Put 4 shooters around LeBron and you win championships, or you get to the finals. If you put playmakers, like Russell Westbrook, guys like that, it just doesn't work. So I'm pretty high on the Spurs, though. It really, the only bet is for the Spurs point total is Wemby's health. If Wemby plays 70 games, they slam that win total. If he plays 55 100%. Games, they're probably not hitting it. And like, what are you confident Wemby can stay healthy? That's the issue. Is that because they're going to rest him, or just because his body type?
Ooh, man, he reminds me of like a taller Kevin Durant with the body style. Like the man is absurdly flexible. I've seen him stretch, but he's. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I do think they're going to rest him. Not a lot, but he's just, in fantasy, he was going like top 3. And like for him, I would have to take him at 5 just because I want the guys that are like proven, and reliable. But he's a make or break. He's a make or break.
Yeah, Elite says I slammed Luka for 25 plus points. That, I mean, his line's got to be like 32 for this game, right? So that's got to be like minus 200 Spitz with no LeBron.
I would assume so. I could check that right now.
There's no way it's 25. Like that's not his actual line. I don't think.
If you guys want an even money bet that I actually bet myself, I took Alperen Şengün for a double. It's even money plus 100.
That seems like money to me.
Yeah.
Blake says the only reason he asked about Houston is because he got in a debate with his buddies, and he was saying there's no way, like a 5 seed's their highest like ceiling, and they said he was crazy. What would you project them as seeding? So regardless of the win totals, what are you projecting the Rockets? Do you think they're a 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, a top 2 seed in that West?
Let's see. So they're the 3rd favorite to win the Western Conference. So, they could be onto something. Behind them, they have the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers will be great. The Lakers.
Yeah, how?
The T-Wolves. They might be onto something. They might be onto something.
Well, because Mr. Free Throw said Houston was a 2 seed last year and won 52 games. And are they better or worse? Yeah, we have to say they're better. It's just their difference, I guess. And like the lack of a point guard is an issue, man. It's going to be an issue. And Kevin Durant, I'm sorry, like I love Kevin Durant, but it has not worked out for him recently. His teams have not been winning. Now he's going to way better culture, way better fit. It's not just going to be all on his back, but let's see how Kevin Durant can kind of mold with that team. And changes are not always a good thing for the early part of the season. Alex says, do you think KD and SGA get 60 plus points combined? They have a boost on DraftKings. Generally, those boosts are kind of sucky, I guess I'd say, because there's a reason they're giving you the boost, right? So if it's like boosted to like plus 150 or something, maybe I just, it's so easy to click on it and be like, I'm getting value, but like there's a reason they're giving you that value. It's like going to a supermarket and they have everything upcharged and they put it on sale back to what it should be. And then people are like, oh my God, it's a sale. I got to buy it. It's like, no, dude, that's the same price it should have been in general. But people see sale, right? They see free shit and they like it. We all do. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Blake says, I'm taking Ace over Jabari. Mr. Free Throw, Ace Bailey is already dealing with tendonitis in both knees. That's not good. That's not good. It was his Spitz's even money bet was Şengün for a double-double. Even money. Şengün for a double-double. And yeah, I do really like, it's Ime, right? The coach of the Rockets. I like
Ime Udoka, the dude that was
he's a dude.
shagging his assistant.
I love that though. Good for you. Good for you, dude. Do that again. Love that. All right, we'll answer a couple more questions. I have a pretty big slate on the pod. I'm going on a guest appearance on another show, and then I have my football show tonight. So it's gonna be a triple header for me, and I still gotta eat dinner.
Damn. One thing I do want to ask you, Rob.
Yeah.
Two things to watch out for on the Lakers. One, LeBron's health, like I got him in the 3rd round of my draft, and it felt like good value because I feel like he has the best doctors in the world around him. But the dude is dealing with like a similar issue that I had with it, which is like nerve issues, and those don't go away quickly. And rumors speculated, Rob's an amazing golfer, I'm a decent golfer, that he got it from playing golf because golf is his new hobby. But he's supposed to
And
be
his swing
back
is
in the
absolutely
middle of
terrible.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Well, he's also
But
6'9", so like no one that's 6'9" has a good golf swing. It's just too tall for golf.
yeah, no, that's very true. That's very true. And then the other thing that I would say just to watch out for, I bet on it, but I'm not going to recommend it, is to watch out for DeAndre Ayton because he's a center playing with Luka Doncic, and he's going to be getting pretty much wide open looks. You know, I also hit him for a double tonight, but I wouldn't say it's a lock.
The one problem with Ayton is I always kind of liked Ayton coming out. He was definitely overdrafted. I liked his offensive game for sure. Like more so his face-up game is good, but the dude's not physical, and he showed flashes of being a pretty elite big. But now he's on his 3rd team, and both other teams have just literally given him away. A former number 1 overall pick. That's a little bit alarming. Now, that's the other narrative. Now, there's 2 narratives there, right? And, like, I hope that's the case because if he wants to ever get paid, I believe this is a contract year for DeAndre Ayton. Am I correct?
I don't know, but I do know that the only center behind them is Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, man, they need him. They need him. Unfortunately, he's not the center they need. He's the center they have, right? Like, because he's not a rim protector. You know, we'll see. I don't mind it though. It was a buy low, and like if it works, unfortunately, you have Luka, who's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Hopefully, skinny Luka is a little better, but bad. And then LeBron at this stage of his career, he in like certain areas, certain quarters, certain halves, he's an elite defender again when he can put his mind to it and have the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Jared Vanderbilt as like their only defender, like the only true defender they have. And that's one dude, and you're playing in the Western Conference. It's just not great. Austin Reeves, I don't know. He's all right. His feet's he's too slow. He's too slow, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? Hold on. I'll answer a couple more questions. I forgot to play the intro. I'm going to play the intro 43 minutes into it because I made it for you, Spitz. All I did was just put your name in there. It's a good one. And we got to talk about this guy too before we get off. So we got to talk about fat Zion, or skinny Zion, I guess you'd say. He's probably still fat, but a couple more comments before we get to that. Alex says, I like to see more of these streams. Love Spitz takes. Yeah, man, I'm going to try to do a couple a week. Doing 7 shows, essentially 20 hours live for football every single week takes a toll. And that's a lot of time and work to put in here. Marvinator says Durant will be dealing assists. He'll hit 4 easy money. Marvinator, I know you were asking about the Patreon. I know the link I had in the description of the last video you're asking was not valid. I did put it on the actual YouTube channel, so just go to the channel and it's under the description links next to like the Instagram and TikTok and shit. So if you want to do that and get into the Discord, it'd be much appreciated, and there's a lot of good perks in there. So we got to talk about Zion Williamson. So you've seen the pictures, man. I want to see him on the court because AI does some crazy things. We don't know how legit that is. It's only going to help his game. And over under Zion Williamson plays 50 games this year.
Over.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The man is a absolute machine. Now, since he did lose that weight, I think it's more of a benefit than a setback. But we'll see. He's obviously still a freak athlete, but we'll be seeing if he's going to be absolutely like pounding into the lane and just like disregarding defenders still.
You think he'll have his lift back?
I think he's gonna, when he plays, I could see him averaging 27 and 8.
Wow. I have a pretty funny story about Zion. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, lay it on me.
All right, quick story time for you. So I was in New Orleans in June for just a little vacation with the wife, and sitting at a bar. I found dollar beers, dude, in New Orleans. It was amazing. Like, it's just kind of like a hole in the wall bar, and was sitting there for 2 hours. And this guy next to me was like watching, I think it was LSU game, college baseball. And we didn't talk for like an hour and a half. And like something, I don't know. I said something about sports. He said something to me. So we started talking. And dude's a season ticket holder for like Saints and Pelicans, big sports fan. He was like 43. Reminds me of Mike Campbell. He's like my spirit animal. Love this guy. Anyway, we end up hanging out all night. Like he's like, I'm driving you around. I'm showing you all these places. We hung out till like 6 a.m. at the casino, and we were talking sports. And I was talking about how Zion. We were talking about how like certain players, you know, like Dennis Rodman, certain guys just shouldn't go to certain cities because like Dennis Rodman should have played in Utah, right? Although that's close to Vegas, he still should have played in Utah to like get away from some of these distractions. And Zion, as a dude that should not have gone to New Orleans, because New Orleans, everything's open till like 6 a.m. So the nightlife's insane.
The food is amazing.
So like, of course, he goes to New Orleans, and I was like, yeah, he shouldn't have gone there. He's like, dude, I've seen Zion out. He was telling me these stories about seeing Zion out, like on like, you know, nights before the game at like 4 a.m. And he's wearing masks. He'd wear a mask just so people couldn't see it was him, even though it's Zion Williamson, who is 6'6", 300 pounds. He's got like a posse and an entourage and like girls, and he's eating food and like getting bottle service. And he's like, yeah, I'd see him out there, and he's like, you know, it'd be really hot in there, and he'd be like sweating. He's like, after an hour or two, he'd just take off his mask and say, fuck it. And I was just like, dude, that makes so much sense, because that's insider information that like we all kind of like, I think we all had like hints that it was happening, that he just wasn't putting in the work because his body has transformed. His game is not, he's not worked on his game at all, right?
That's hilarious.
Like, that's why I respect LeBron James, because LeBron James was the best player in the NBA year 2, year 3 coming in as a 20-year-old. And he's only worked on his game every year, right? And he had no reason to work on his game year 12. He kept on putting in the work as an all-timer. Zion has not put an ounce of anything into his game. That just shows how great Zion actually was as a prospect, because he has not put anything in, and he's still a top 40 NBA player.
Yeah. That's
I just couldn't believe that story. It was, I mean, I could believe it. It was just funny. I was just like, dude, thank you. Like, that just made my night. I was just like, typical Zion, just eating seafood and drinking and just hanging out till 4 a.m. before a game, and then probably missing that game because he had stomach cramps, right? Nah, bro, you got a stomach ache. You ate like 3 pounds of food.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome,
all right, what about real quick, Rob, what about Ja Morant over under 60 games?
Oh, he's already hurt, right? What does he have?
I don't know. Is he already hurt? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I think he's already out for the first week or two. I'm gonna go over just because I know that team is gonna have to fight to make the play-in game, and I feel like losing Desmond Bane, like, they don't have a lot of room for error there. So and you know, JJ always misses games, so like it's got to be Ja Morant. What a disappointing kind of turn of events for Ja Morant. The whole Gunt thing, everything's been bad for Ja Morant. I love Ja Morant coming out, and like, just think about it. It was Ja Morant and it was Zion Williamson 1-2 in that draft, and they both look like can't miss players. And it was like they both were misses. They both were misses at this point, because Ja Morant had one epic season, and then the other ones were injuries and suspensions. And Zion Williamson's just a fat turd that now is skinny. Maybe we'll see. But like, they're not on the floor enough. They're bad defenders. It's just rough, man.
We don't know what the AI.
Yeah, AJ, you should have a fantasy basketball expert dial in and ask him questions. I've heard your friend AJ is the GOAT. Smarter than you, Spitz? You say he's smarter than you.
Yeah, AJ wins more than 50% of the time in our league.
Marvinator, I had the 4th overall pick for NBA fantasy. I picked Wemby over Giannis. Would you both say I chose right? That's the sexy pick, like, but Giannis is such a stud. Like, he's so safe to play more games.
Yeah.
So it depends on your format, actually, right?
There needs to be that's what I was gonna say. Like, I play points leagues. The category leagues are more popular, but I definitely like points leagues more.
Same.
So I think Giannis would be the better pick in maybe category leagues, because
no, I think it's the opposite. Honestly, I think in categories you get Wemby's blocks, and that's huge, dude. And the threes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say.
Points leagues, give me Giannis.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, Marvinator, what's the format? Is it like a rotisserie league? Is it a category? That's categories. Is it points? Who were the top picks? Let me try to guess them. So I'm not playing fantasy this year. I mean, Jokic for sure number 1, SGA number 2, and then do we have Luka?
Yeah.
Ooh,
so my draft and my league is very, very competitive. It went Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Shea.
yeah, I can see that. Shea is kind of empty stat guy in terms of like a lot of free throws and not a lot of rebounds and assists.
Yeah. So do you want to hear my team, Rob?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Blast?
Let's hear it. I
Okay,
kind of know the format. It's points league, so
I'm not the happiest with it because I wanted to go.
How many teams in this? 12?
12 teams. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had the 8th pick, which is arguably the worst pick, I think, in the draft. And I was hoping Cade Cunningham was going to fall to me because I'm very high on Cade Cunningham. But he did not. So I was left with a choice between Sabonis, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Trae Young. I picked Karl Anthony Towns. If Sabonis was entering the season healthy, I would have picked Sabonis. But there might be a little question mark between a little bit of drop off with the Knicks players now that Tom Thibodeau is out. He would like run their players into the ground. Like you remember Luol Deng on the Bulls?
Slave, bro.
Yeah.
Not just because they look like one.
Yeah. So second round was where I reached a tad. I took Banchero. He was ranked 35. Category leagues took him down that much. He was ranked 35. I took him at 17. I could have picked Amen or Giddey or Jaylen Brown. And then in the third round, LeBron fell to me, and I could not resist. I picked him over like Ja Morant, Vooch, Franz, Cooper Flag were the picks after him. So I had to. Then in the fourth round, I needed a guard. Like I said, my strategy, I wanted to have guards heavy first because the guard's a little bit more thin. I had to pick a guard, so I picked De'Aaron Fox, who is also out. So I'm basically tanking it for the second half of the season because it gets worse. And then in the 5th round, I picked this guy we did not talk about, Rob. I'm very, very high on this guy. AJ didn't like the pick. I love the pick. It's Denny Avdia. Do you know
the
that
guy puts up points, baby. Portland, right?
Yeah, Portland.
He was the last like 30 games. He was like a top 20 fantasy player last year, if I recall.
Correct. So we'll see.
I still know my shit, Spitz.
See how it goes. Yeah. And then in the 6th round, I picked DeAndre Ayton, which is a reach. I could have picked.
I don't think so. Not in your league.
I could have picked Lowry, Mark Williams. Mark Williams might be iffy. Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein's going to be very good. I would take him to bet over like 11 rebounds any night. The dude just cleans up the glass. Chet Holmgren is like left with nothing. Round 7, I picked RJ Barrett. I'm a big RJ Barrett guy. He won me the league with you in the first year. I think he's just going to kind of stuff the stat sheet, even with there being a lot of mouths to feed in Toronto. Then I got Norm Powell on the Heat now. I think he will be a microwave scorer. Tyler Hero's out for a month, but even when Tyler Hero comes back, they really don't have anybody else to score besides Tyler Hero and Bam. And then as we get to round 9, I got Malik Monk on the Kings. That might have been a questionable pick. Then I got Aaron Nesmith on the Pacers. I am high on the Pacers guys now that
100%.
Halliburton's out. Mathurin, I'm very high on. I would take him to score 20 points any night. And then round 11, Kyrie Irving. I got Kyrie.
When is he coming
I'm
back?
happy about that one. Supposedly January, but I see the picks on like D'Lo's Instagram. He looks to be pretty healthy, so we'll see.
I'll say this about your team. It's an aggressive team. I don't like picking that many injured guys to start. You might be behind the 8 ball here to start out. With LeBron, we just have to
100%.
see. Marvin says my league is weird. Was weird. It was Shea, Luka, Jokic went
That's
third.
so weird.
Like, why would you not take Jokic 1 or 2? You know what I mean?
In like any format.
It's so easy. He doesn't miss games. Mr. Free though loves Denny. His numbers late last season were awesome. And Marvin says head-to-head points. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I get the allure. Trust me. I remember last year. I took Wemby number 1 just because I wanted to root for the crazy season. But projections for Nembhard sliding into the starting lineup this year. Yeah, he's their starter, right, Spitz?
Correct. He is. Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna I had him last year. And even with like Halliburton sitting out some games, he would pick up the slack a little bit. But when he had a couple of good games in the playoffs too. I don't know. We'll see. His usage will certainly go up. He'll have the ball in his hands a lot. We'll see.
All right, this was awesome. If you're in here, you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? 7 shows a night, 7 fantasy football and gambling shows a night. Once fantasy football season's over, not the NFL, once the fantasy season's over after week 17, I'm going to kind of pivot to basketball a little bit more. We'll be doing a lot more of these shows, a lot of player props. You can still sub to the channel, and I'll be putting up all my plays on the channel on like a minute video, like 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Central every day. Spitz, you're awesome. Also, check out the Patreon if you want the access to the bets before the video comes out. I'll place them. I'll put them in the Patreon, which gets you access to the Discord chat. Put them in the Discord every single day when I make them 1, 2 p.m., whatever. Get the best lines possible before they switch. Because Spitz, when you're on the right side of these bets, they always go the other way.
Yeah, and I know a lot of guys from my league. We're in here. You guys gotta sub to Rob because the dude is just like a fantasy guru. Like, what are you at? I know we're on basketball. What are you at for your season bets on football?
32-16 on props.
32-16. The week I tailed, you went 0-3 or 1-2. But
was that this week?
It wasn't bad. No, it was a couple weeks ago. We were betting on like Trevor Lawrence and some shit.
Yeah, I've had a couple rough Sundays, but dude, on the prime, like last night I had Gibbs over total yards, which was the easiest bet in the world. It was 88 and he had 200. And then I actually got lucky. I had Kenneth Walker who had 66. It was 61 total yards. On the primetime bets, I've been crushing like any like Thursday, Sunday night, Monday night games. I'm like 80% on those. Yeah, I've had a couple rough. I had a Sunday where I went 1-5, but again, 32-16. And it's not just that.
The bets for Marvin Harrison
like,
over 49, Trevor Lawrence over 11.5. Those didn't hit. But Nico Collins.
Well, then Marvin Harrison, remember that game? That was when Marvin Harrison had the one egregious drop, and he had 2 drops in that game.
Yeah.
He had the one drop that would have been a 60-yard touchdown, like the easiest catch in the world, and he still didn't. Like dude, Marvin Harrison's a bum. That was rough. You know what? Like that's what it takes. Like the thing is, when you're on a heater like I am, those are typically the bets you lose. Is when like it was obviously a great play because he still got like within 3 yards of the total, and it took him having 2 drops, one super egregious drop that would have pretty much had the bet alone to lose these bets. So like that's when you're going well. All right, Spitz, this was awesome, man. Appreciate you coming on. Glad we could finally do this. We will convene again soon.
Let's do it again.
And yeah, dude, happy to watch NBA here in about 1 hour. It's gonna be exciting. So thank you to everyone again. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you, Spitz. Stay positive. Respect each other. Watch
check out Mark Spitzer Golf on Instagram. That's my main thing.
Yeah, man. Tempo Town. Hold on. Dom's in here. Dom, we're just getting off, man. Sorry. But you can go back and watch the stream. It's only an hour. It'll be up there in a second. And you can go back and watch the whole thing. And tonight, Dom, everyone in here, football show live at 10 p.m. Central. Waiver wire show. All the good stuff there. Mailbag. Appreciate you guys. Later, Spitz.